Hello, this is Christina Wallace. Welcome back and thanks for popping in if it's your first time watching my videos. I hope you make yourself at home. So this time I'm going to show you how to make a hydrangea. It's a lovely, delicate, dainty filler flower, or at least it's known as a filler flower, but it could be used by itself as well. And I'm going to show you how to wire it. I know I always say it's easier than it seems, but this one really is easier than it seems, and it's a fantastic flower to wire. Very easy. And I'll show you how to just use little hydrangeas on cupcakes, how to dust them nicely and make them look perfect and very popular, because they've been really well regarded and received by people who order cupcakes from me, and also by my little crowd on Instagram. So again, thanks for watching, and see you next week for my next video as well.
For those of you who are new to my channel, Look and Lucy is my first main website, now replaced by Cake Philosophy. So the first thing we're going to do is a little center for the wired hydrangeas. So I'm using 30 gauge wire, and I hook up the very top of a wire so it doesn't fall out of the little ball that I'm going to make now. So prepare a few balls at a time, maybe as many as you want. Just keep them in a plastic bag though. And this is what I'm using is sugar glue. You can Google it, it's very simple to make. And then I just kind of make a little necklace move like this. And yeah, make sure that your little ball is sealed at the end so it sits on the wire firmly. And then you could take a Dresden tool and just give it a little flower-like pattern, just like this. They don't have to be uniform, because in real life they're not, but they need to be kind of the samey in their non-uniformity, if that makes any sense. So with this one, this is how I prefer to cut my petals. I don't like cutting loads of them. I like to clear the edges of the cutter. The problem here, I think, I forgot to dust the surface of the board, so I have to remove the spare gum paste like this. Generally it's easier to just pick it up and then clean the edges, and it was a bit tricky this time as far as I remember, but anyway, this is how I do it. I find that it leaves you with clean edges. Now, in general, it's good to use petal dust or some kind of a vegetable greasing on the board. Petal dust is just a nicer smelling alternative to vegetable fat. You put it on the board, and then your petals don't get deformed by you trying to pull them off the actual board. Now, when you cut the petals, because sometimes they tend to stick together, especially if your paste is self-made, very fresh. So here, my scissors are quite straight. Sometimes you get curvy scissors and they don't do the job quite as well. So I'm thinning out the petals to the end. It's up to you. You could leave it unthinned. It's just a matter of preference rather than anything else, I think. And for something like this, the greased board is quite good, because this is where they would really stick had you not greased your board in advance. Now, another irreplaceable tool in making flowers is this little palette knife. I have quite a few of them because I keep losing them. But yeah, so this is what you have. This is the veiner that I use. It's not very true to life. And I'm on the lookout for a new one that's nicer, but I do like this one. It's a very good veiner for dusting, subsequent dusting, or the way I dust it anyway. So I do love it. I just want to get him a little companion, so to speak. So it's important to dust this veiner as well, because if you don't, then your flower will just stretch and deform when you're trying to pull it off. So I've lost the top of this veiner, but I never really particularly used it because I wanted to kind of have more of a control over the top, and it didn't want it sticking quite as much. So I'm not really bothered if it has. There's a these flowers are so small, I'm not actually all that bothered if they have veins in the back or what. So here I'm using sugar glue, and here comes the middle that we've made earlier on. So here's your hydrangea starting to take a bit of shape. Now this one here is petal based, just to grease your board really a little bit, so your flowers don't stick and don't fall when you try to take them off, etc. It's not very expensive and it smells quite nice, and it doesn't kind of go off and gets a bit goopy, gloopy, as the vegetable fat can do. So yeah, I think it's a worthwhile investment. Having said that, it's actually nothing that special. So yeah, so here's me using this very commonly seen vena, and don't like it much. I think it's a bit familiar really for my liking, but it's nice. If anyone actually knows where to get a nice hydrangea vena all in one, I would be very grateful, because I'm on the lookout for one of those. It would be nice to have a new one. One thing I wouldn't probably do is to use two different venas for the same flower in the same flower arrangement, because I just think it would look a little bit random and not trendy, just random. And here, yeah, that board that I've mentioned, you can get it on eBay. Now before we start dusting, I'm going to show you how to adapt the little hydrangeas that we've just made to cupcake ones, which are a lot simpler, obviously. So yeah, we've done a bit of a topsy-turvy here, but anyway. So what you do, once they're ready like this, just don't wire them, or before you actually thin them and vein them, you might want to put them in a drying folder just like this, and then when you've cut enough of them out and shaped them, you could just nicely put them on one of those to dry. So these are your ready wired ones, so they look really nice and dainty and delicate, and this is what we wanted. And these is the one of the powders I'm going to use along with the rest of them, because I want to show you this very popular and lovely rainbow effect. The main thing here is not to overdo on it straight away. Take it easy. Use two brushes at least, one for your pinks and one for all other colors, and obviously clear it in between at least a little bit. And yeah, just this bit is actually quite easy. You just don't overdo it straight away, and make sure that you soften and decrumb and really break down all your powders before using them, and you should be in good hands, your own. With hydrangeas, I just dust them when I'm ready. If they're slightly delicate and wet still, or leathery rather, I really don't mind. But in general, I find that if I apply the powders to non-fully dry petals, the result could be a little bit patchy. So I do prefer applying it to fully dry flowers in general. Now, here I'm using tip number 2, I think, or number 1.5, number 1.5. But actually, you could just use some little bubbles you find in supermarket, and a little bit of edible glue and stuff. So, and here you go. Bunch them up in 3s or 2s or 4s, using a little bit of a flower wire. God, it's late. I'm losing my words. Yeah, flower tape. See, they have this lovely shape, which lends itself so well to being bunched up like this. Now I'm going to show you something. They're very delicate, so you inevitably end up breaking a few. Account for that. But yeah, if you do something like this, sometimes it's good to hide away a few broken ones, or an odd broken one. So yeah. And this is another video that's coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're subscribing as we speak, and hopefully I'll see you again soon, next week to be precise. This is Christina Wallace.